You had the $100. You always had the $100. It was never about the money. It was about the feeling that $100 was too small to matter, that the market was too complicated, that you would start when things were more stable, when the job felt more secure, when the timing felt more right. You kept the $100. You spent it on things you cannot name today. A dinner, a subscription, something that felt urgent on a Tuesday and invisible by Thursday. And somewhere in those Tuesdays, 10 years passed. This is not a story about investing. This is a story about what waiting actually costs. And the number at the end of this video is going to stay with you for a very long time. The version of you at 25. You are 25. You have a job. Not a great job, but a job. The kind that pays enough to survive and not enough to feel secure. You hear about investing for the first time from someone at work. They mention something about index funds, about compound interest, about starting early. You listen. You nod. You go home and open a tab on your phone. The tab stays open for 4 days. Then you close it. Not because you decided against it, just because the tab got buried under everything else. And life continued. You told yourself it was not the right time. The rent went up. The car needed work. Your phone needed replacing. There was always something more urgent than $100 sitting in an account you could not see growing. So you waited. You told yourself you would start when things settled. Things never settled. They just changed shape. The version of you at 30. 5 years passed. You are 30 now. The job got better. The salary went up. You moved into a better apartment. You bought things that felt like progress. A nicer car. Better clothes. Weekends that cost more than they used to. And somewhere in the back of your mind, that tab you closed at 25 opened again. A friend mentioned their investment account. Not bragging, just mentioning it the way people mention things they started years ago. You asked how much they had put in. They said they started at 22 with $100 a month. You did the math in your head. 8 years of $100 a month. $9,600 of their own money. You asked what the account read. They said just over $19,000. You smiled, said that was great. Drove home thinking about the $9,600 you had spent on things you could not name. You opened the app that night. You created an account. You set up a $100 monthly transfer. Then something came up the following week, and you paused it. Just temporarily. The pause lasted 3 years. The version of you at 33. You are 33. The account is still there. You never closed it. You just stopped feeding it. $578 sitting in an index fund. Earning almost nothing because you never moved it properly. The number sat there like a reminder you kept ignoring. You thought about it sometimes. Usually late at night. Usually when something expensive came up and you felt the familiar feeling of never quite having enough. You told yourself you would restart when the credit card was paid off. The credit card got paid off. You restarted for 2 months. Then stopped again. Not dramatically. Not with a decision. Just a month where the transfer did not happen. Then another. Then the $578 sat there for another year untouched. And you stopped logging in. Because logging in felt like looking at something that reminded you of who you meant to be. The version of you at 35. You are 35. Something shifts. Maybe it is a birthday. Maybe it is a conversation. Maybe it is 3 a.m. and you are doing the math on your phone and the numbers are not adding up the way you always assumed they would. You open the app again. The account still reads $612. A decade of market returns on $578. $34 in gains. You sit with that number for a long time. Then you do something you never did before. You open a calculator. You type in $100. Monthly investment. 10% average annual return. Start date, 25 years old. End date, 65 years old. The calculator returns a number. $637,000. You stare at it. Then you change the start date. Start date, 35 years old. End date, 65 years old. The calculator returns a new number, $226,000. You sit with those two numbers for a long time. $637,000. $226,000. Same $100. Same discipline. Same 40 years of life. The only difference is 10 years of waiting. 10 years of Tuesdays. 10 years of things you cannot name. The difference between those two numbers is $411,000. And that $411,000 did not go anywhere. It just never existed. Because the best time to grow money is time itself. And you spend yours on Tuesdays, the day you actually start. You start at 35. Not because the timing is perfect. The timing is not perfect. The timing will never be perfect. You start because the cost of waiting one more year is now a number you can see. $411,000 divided by 10 years is $41,100 per year. Divided by 12 months is $3,425 per month. Every single month you waited cost you $3,425 in future wealth. You were not saving $100 a month when you waited. You were spending $3,425 a month in future money. The $100 was never the small amount. The waiting was the expensive part. So you start. You set up the transfer. You do not pause it. The first month feels exactly the same as it would have felt at 25. $100 leaving your account on a Thursday. Going somewhere quiet. Sitting in an index fund. Doing nothing visible. The account reads $712, including your old $612. It is not a number that changes your life. It is not a number you tell anyone about. But something is different this time. This time you know what the number becomes. You have seen the calculator. You know what 30 years of $100 a month looks like. And that knowledge changes everything. Because now the $100 is not $100. It is a decision about who you will be at 65. What the account reads now. You are still here. Still transferring. Some months the market goes up. Some months it goes down. You stopped checking it every week. Then stop checking it every month. You check it twice a year now. Not because you stopped caring. Because you finally understood that caring too much makes you do the wrong thing. The account grows the way things grow when no one is watching. Slowly. Then all at once. The number you see twice a year looks different than it did. Not life-changing yet, but undeniably real. And for the first time in 10 years, the number does not remind you of who you meant to be. It reminds you of who you are becoming. You still have the $100. You always had the $100. The question was never whether you could afford to invest it. The question was whether you could afford to keep spending it on Tuesdays. The answer was always no. You just needed to see the number first. Now you have seen it. $411,000. That is what 10 years of waiting costs. Not dramatically. Not all at once. Just one Tuesday at a time. If this video found you at 25, you have no idea how lucky you are. If it found you at 35, you are exactly where I was. Start anyway. The second best time is always right now. And if it found you at 45, the calculator still works in your favor. The math never stops being on your side. It just needs you to show up. Subscribe to Finance with Dre. Because next week, we are talking about something nobody tells you about. The moment your investment account finally crosses $100,000. And why that moment feels completely different from what you imagined.